Everybody, Tracy Brown here, and we are just going to do a fun little intro video. I'm going to tag my friend Caroline and see if she is on. And I believe she is here in a second. I hope you can still hear me. And if she pops in, I'll try to invite her. Let's see. I'll wait for her to pop on when she's ready. And so this is, I'm just kind of creating, and that might be her now. Let's see. Let's see. Well, all right, so I'm assuming Caroline will let me know when she's here, and we will get talking to her. So I'm going to do this maybe not every week. Oh, there she is. All right, let me see if I can invite you, Caroline, to talk. Oh, there's giving me a button to do it. Yay for one that you're here. And okay. I always forget how to do this, Caroline. Let me mess with my phone here a second. Oh, there she is. Yay.
Hi.
Hello, sister. How you doing?
Hi. Good. How are you?
I'm good. So haven't even gotten to the intro yet of what we're doing here today. And I'll just let you know what it is too, because I just decided to do it like a week or two ago when I, let you know. So
Okay.
let me just introduce what we're doing and then introduce you a little bit more. And then I'm going to have you make sure at the end that you tell us where we can find you, because I didn't get a chance to put your links below yet. So
Okay. Sounds good.
if you will do that for me at the end, I'd love if you'd help me out with that. Like, here's my email and all that good stuff. Not email, yeah, email and your website. So anyway,
Okay.
I want to do this feature often, maybe not every single week, but often enough to where we just all get to know each other, what we all do, share our expertise, and our little niches within the niche, what we all do here with non-diet work or whatever that is. This group so far is mostly dietitians and coaches, and I know we have a couple other people who do some other stuff too that I'm just honored that they wanted to be part of all this. So I'm going to have them on too at some point. But anyway, so Caroline Young is a dietitian in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia area, right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. And I put below that you're in a counseling group I'll let you name the name of it, with all therapists, and then you have your own that's part of your private practice, and you have your own virtual practice, and you teach yoga. So anything else you want to say a little bit more about what you are doing with all that, and even the little percentages of what you do? And then I'm going to ask you just about your journey of getting to like, oh, I'm doing non-diet work. This is what's happened and what's been helpful. So let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So just on top to add to what you just said, I actually am starting to host retreats with a therapist that I share. I share an office space with a therapist who also teaches yoga, and she also works with eating disorders. So I'm really fortunate to be in that setting of therapists. It's just really supportive and really worked out really nicely. But we are really excited, especially today, because we got our first people signed up for our first retreat.
That's great.
So yeah, so that is another part of what I'm going to start doing starting in January. So this is going to be hopefully the first of many. And that concept is, I'm the dietitian, she's the therapist, and it's for anyone struggling with, not necessarily like they can have eating disorders, but obviously have to be medically stable to come to our retreat. But then anyone kind of like on the spectrum, anyone just tired of dieting. And it's going to be a lot of yoga, meditation, and intuitive eating tools and body image circles, and just like a really nourishing package for women to come.
That's awesome.
For a weekend. Yeah.
So it seems like that developed really quickly, like literally.
Yeah.
It sounds like within a couple of weeks you guys decided we're just going to do this, and this is how it's happened. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah. It just kind of, so this the, I really honestly think it's because this woman, this therapist that I share space with, she and I crossed paths, and we just kept crossing paths and kept crossing paths. And then things changed with both of our jobs pretty quickly. And we worked at an addiction center together, and they basically it's just kind of a mess there. So anyways, we ended up both leaving there, and she offered to share her office with me because I was looking for space, and we just realized how like-minded we are in our approach and our thought process, and we work with the same population, and we're both passionate about this population. And we kind of were just chatting. We became friends really quickly, and we were just chatting like, what if we did a retreat? And then it just went from that to like, we're doing a retreat very, very quickly.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, you know, this, and I want everybody to know that this meeting here is not planned. What Carol and I are doing right now, I just decided that we're going to do this. Just like she decided, like, hey, let's do a retreat. Oh, we're doing this. Because I want to talk about the concept of opportunity. Sometimes what we have planned or what we think we should do, that's good and all. But sometimes things like this in life just happen, and we got to just seize the moment, essentially. And things kind of start to fall into place. I mean, that's how it happened for the non-diet counseling skills group that I ran, you know, a little bit later this time last year. It wasn't a ton of planning. I had it kind of done and planned out before I ran it the first time within a couple weeks. So it doesn't always have to be this big, grand, huge launch thing you do. It's just like, oh, is timing right? We need to jump on it versus totally doubt ourselves and overthink it. We just need to go.
Oh yeah. I mean, and don't get me wrong. It is, some days I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, what are we doing? And I mean, it's scary.
Yes.
The thing is, it's more exciting than scary, and it's just having the faith instead of letting the fear rule, you know? And I think we'll probably be a little scared up until we actually do it. But that's the nature of this work I figured out. I mean, same thing goes with counseling work. You know, I still get very, I mean, I'm still so young in my counseling work. Like, I still have days where I'm like, totally just like, okay, I just got to do it. You know, you just got to jump and do it. And the support is huge, though. Like, between your group, and you and your work and EDRD Pro, like, I'm not really sure. Like, I wouldn't be able to do it. You can't do it alone, and especially in this work. So
I want to come back around to like how you kind of like figure that out, because I think it's really important. And I just want to, I want to introduce you a little bit more and your thing coming up. But what I want to say is that, like, I thought I wasn't like on the verge of vomiting like most days when I first started. Like in my young, I mean, I was like, I cared so much and I didn't want to screw up that I was just not. I mean, I can turn it on and be in session, and after session at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I was like, did I say it right? And that's why supervision and whatever way of getting support, whether it's groups or whatever, is so important. So I just wanted to mirror that back to you, that like, well, how you feel is, you're not crazy. That's just how this work is.
Right.
So,
right. But it's worth it, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Really, it's wonderful. I mean, we wouldn't do it unless we felt like it was worth it. It's just acknowledging, like, you're not crazy if you feel like you want to cry, basically. Yeah. If you don't feel like you want to cry, then you're probably not quite all the way in it yet. So.
Right. Yes.
So, well, tell me, make sure, please, that you let us know. Can people go to this retreat from all over?
Yes. Okay. I mean, so we have, like I said, it's really open. It's all women. So it's just females. Anyone from, you know, it's in the North Georgia mountains. So if you're willing to travel, if you live outside of Georgia, that's great. Of course, we'd love to have anyone who wants to come, as long as they fit into that, as long as they you know, are female and also are not, you know, that they're medically stable in their eating disorders, or they're in recovery, or they're just somewhere on the spectrum of disordered eating.
Sounds good. So cool. Can you again put a link for that as well? So if anybody lives in the area or knows someone who does, we could pass that info on. Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I forgot that you were doing that, so I'm glad this ended up being an extra day. You can plug that too. It's great. I forgot about it. All right. So tell me a little bit how long you've been doing kind of outpatient kind of work, and how you got to this place where I'm going to be a intuitive eating, an eating disorder, non-diet, health at every size. You can tell as little as much of your story as you want, but like what got you to the place of like, I need to learn how to dig deeper? I mean, and like, what's that look like for you?
So, I've been doing outpatient work for a little under a year now, but I was, just to back up a little bit, I've only been a dietitian now for a little over 2 years total, but in that time I've done a lot. But so I started out with the eating disorder work. I started out inpatient, and also there was some outpatient, but it was mostly inpatient in a mental health hospital, and it was really, full-blown eating disorders. And I was kind of dipping my toe in it because I always kind of knew, part of me knew that I wanted to work in eating disorders, but I was, again, the fear was real, but it was like so real that I just wasn't sure that I wanted to even do it at all. But once I did that work, it kind of confirmed that desire for me, and just made me, I couldn't ignore it anymore. And not that I was ignoring it, but I couldn't, it was like just clarified and just kind of like crystallized that, okay, this is the work that you need to be doing. And so that's when I started thinking about if I wanted to do inpatient or outpatient. And I knew really quickly I wanted to do outpatient. I just really like sitting down with people one-on-one. I don't really, maybe down the road I'll be into groups, but I really feel like I thrive, and my strengths are sitting down with people, with, just one-on-one counseling and outpatient. So that's really what I wanted to do, and what I still want to do, and what I'm doing right now. And I knew that I needed to go deeper, just because the hospital I was working in was very antiquated in their views. Like, they're not health at every size. They're recommending weight loss to people that were in larger bodies, like just things that I knew didn't jive with me and didn't sit well with me. And of course, like I knew I couldn't change their whole system, because they've been doing that for a very long time. And, I'm this young dietitian, but so basically I left there and signed up for your training so I could develop more tools in the non-diet work. But in that time period, I was already doing, actually several years, I was already doing lots of reading on my own and education, on most of all of the books, you name it, Body Respect, Health at Every Size, of course, Intuitive Eating, a lot of other books, and then including the books that you had in your training as well. So yeah, I just kind of like immersed myself in the education and the resources, and I, in my own journey had already happened before that. So, so I guess I hope that answers your question.
Well, I love to hear, it's really good for all of us. Even it's really good to hear other people's stories of how they got to certain places, because sometimes we think that like everybody just decides to do outpatient in their own office one day. And it's like, most of us actually have this, either long or shorter learning curve of like getting clear about where they want to be, maybe how they want to do it. And that's going to evolve again. If I talk to you again in 2 weeks or 10 years, it's going to look different again. But I'm always my senses are always up for like a metaphor moment. And I think it's really important that you talked about how you did that inpatient job, kind of not sure if you even wanted to be in this realm, but you didn't know until you experienced it. And that's a really important metaphor. So counseling skill alert here, you're always looking out for like, just this, something you could share with your clients in a session. It's like, I wasn't for sure if I really, really, really wanted to do this because of my fear of the unknown, or if I would be good enough or whatever.
Right.
But I kind of walked in it. And it's just like with food, like you're not going to know how your body is going to respond if you have the pasta or the brownie or whatever happens until you eat, versus thinking about, is that going to be safe for me or not? You almost have to do it, have to live it a little bit and get some feedback from like that's right. That's good.
Right.
So I want to encourage everybody who's watching, I'm always looking for moments in life to be able to pair that back to food, and how they can use something they've already used, learned, experiences like, and this is the same way with food or your body or whatever. So I thought I would share that right there. That's
I love that.
You could use. You can totally use your own experiences it doesn't always have to be about your food, because sometimes it could just be about, I didn't know and I was scared and like so scared,
Right.
like out of my mind scared, and yet now I did it, and I dipped my toe in and saw that, like, oh, here now I know what I know. I can trust that.
Hmm. Yeah, and it was like, it was like this kind of, I think that can tie back to intuitive eating really nicely. Like that intuition that a lot of the times we ignore because of whatever conditioning or fear or, all those things. That's what I was doing. And that at that time, I was like, I could hear my intuition being like, you need to do this, you need to do this. But I had like silenced my intuition so much at that
Yeah.
point in my life that I was like, oh no, like that's too scary, that's too much, it's gonna be too much. And then
Mm.
I just finally just did it, and I'm in a place with my career where I feel like, yes, it's hard, and of course there's days that, like you said, I want to cry, but I feel like it's really what I'm supposed to be. Like it's my purpose here, at least in my career. It really is like I feel like why I'm here.
Yeah. Wow.
Which is so
Okay.
it's like okay, it's so looking back, it's like okay, was that worth it to listen to my intuition even though it was scary? Yes. you
Okay,
know,
good.
yeah,
There you go. There's a story right there. I mean, the more we can kind of be like this in our sessions, the more powerful they are, because we're human, and we're here. We're with you in it. So cool.
right.
Tell me how you meld your yoga, because not all of us do yoga or other kind of you know ancillary
Mm-hmm.
things that kind of go with this, and so people might want to be interested in, like, to know that you can do it. Like I do, lots of trauma-based and somatic work and all kinds of other stuff, and you do some yoga, which is
Mm-hmm.
similar to that. But tell us how, like, either do you use that in session, or do you separate work with that, or how do you do it?
So it's funny that you asked that because I'm actually going to a workshop at the end of this month with Beverly Price. You know Beverly
Hmm.
Price?
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, so she's also a yoga teacher and dietitian that works with eating disorders,
Yeah.
and she's doing a week-long workshop for dietitians and therapists that work with eating disorders that want to integrate yoga into their counseling work.
Good.
So
Yeah.
literally perfect for me. So I'm going to that to
And
learn
then,
how to
is
do it.
she still in Michigan, right?
She's in Michigan. I'm not sure if she's in Michigan. The retreat's in Arizona,
Okay, got it.
but
So she's going. I didn't mean to interject. I was just wondering, because I just want people to know where she's at if you want to look for her.
I'm
Um,
not sure where she's based actually. I
okay,
don't
that's
know.
okay. Don't worry about it. I was just want to put that out there for people, a tool. But yeah, she's very
Yeah.
good at that. I've seen some of her videos. She does a good job. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I really want to integrate it really like completely, if that makes sense. Right
Hmm.
now, I do it in my sessions. So I teach separately from my sessions and in a class, but in my sessions I do little bits. So it's mostly at the beginning, and it's similar to what it seems like you do a lot with a lot of your clients, but I do a lot of like body scanning
Hmm.
and grounding exercises. Like it's usually the first 10 minutes of each session that I do
Okay,
with
cool.
most of my clients, most of them, not all of them, and usually not the first session. But so we do like a combination of like breath work, body scan, and like a little gentle seated yoga. So we'll do like neck rolls, we'll do like shoulder stretches, and just really, really gentle yoga sequences. And then we'll engage the senses. Honestly, I kind of mix it up depending on the client,
That's
and
beautiful.
depending
Yeah.
on, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the first time I did it. Again, I remember the first time I did it in a session, I was terrified, and but then I just remember afterwards how good it felt because I was like, this is something I've always wanted to do, and I did it, and then I just kept doing it, and now it just feels like second nature. So
Hmm.
that's what I'm doing so far. And then also a lot of my clients, like I'll send them, like YouTube videos for gentle yoga. I'll send them meditations, just depending on what they're needing for like self-care. But again, I really want to learn how to bring it in more. But that's what I'm doing right now. And then I do
Cool.
a little bit of visualization too with some clients, not all of them, but
Very good.
so yeah.
Cool. Good deal. So let's do. I want to hear. Thing I mentioned I would ask you is one. Maybe one skill that you learned either from this group or from the class that we had, last fall. One thing you can think of that was like, that felt like a really important linchpin for you. And then, a place where you feel like, And I'm going to share the same thing because I don't want people to feel like I've got it all figured out. And then one place it's like, yeah, I'm still kind of working on this because and maybe it's the yoga thing you just said. How do I work that in seamlessly and blah, whatever. Or it could be something else like, this is the part I haven't figured out yet. Still working on it. So anything you think of from either, it doesn't even have to be from my stuff. It could just be like, oh, this is the one thing that, like, it helps so much in like unpacking or whatever.
Yeah. Something that I've been doing a lot lately with my clients, that we talked a lot about this in our groups, but it wasn't necessarily phrased but this was Anita Johnston. I learned it from her, was hunger tanks. That has been really helpful lately with clients to help them separate out their hungers, and to help them understand like what's going on when they're looking for something emotional from their food, and how to figure that out, how to name their hungers and get them just to identify their hungers, and then how to get them met, whether that's physical hunger, emotional hunger, sexual hunger, any really intellectual hungers. It could be anything, but that's like that, especially with the women that I work with, is really useful.
Cool.
And empowering for them to be able to name it. It's also scary because it's just I don't know, it can just be scary for them to be like, oh yeah, I'm not, like, that's a need of mine, but I don't know how to ask for that yet, or I don't know how to I don't know how to get that met yet. And also, I try to bring in ACT, acceptance commitment therapy, a lot with values. I go a lot back to, I always circle back with clients, like, in the beginning we talk about their values, but I always circle back, like, okay, how is this food behavior, is that aligned with your values? And that really is powerful too.
Absolutely. Cool.
Because it just kind of like that reminder again and again is just kind of brings them back to, like, oh yeah, that's not really, or it is really, like, the person that I want to be, or what's really important.
Yeah. Awesome.
I mean, there's so many tools. There's so
I
many
was going to say, but it's good because
Right.
sometimes, like, we know, oh yeah, that's right, I do that all the time. I don't name it that way, or I don't give myself credit for that. Or that's why I want everybody to hear today is like, oh yeah, there's so many good things that I am doing pretty well. But maybe somebody says it in a different way that helps you, like, make it click. That's why we're talking today. So.
Oh, and I do want to say one more thing. The pro-con list that you gave me for that exercise, pro-con list of desiring fitness, that is really, really effective for a lot of my clients too. It helps them realize how much that the obsession with being thin takes away from their lives. So,
well, I think the thing to point out from that one is that, like, how much we've all been conditioned to believe that, like, you can literally only be happy, let's say, or confident if I get thinness. It's almost like there's horse blinders. Like, there's no other way I can be confident. This is it. And then when you help them see, like, well, actually, what are some of the things that you already maybe have some confidence about? Or is it true that, like, you're the only person who can never get confidence a different way, and everybody else has confidence from 1,000 other ways? It helps them kind of like, oh, it doesn't always mean they have the answer for it, or they're gonna, like, not want to lose weight tomorrow, but it just kind of, like, puts a spotlight on awareness. Maybe that's faulty thinking. Maybe me thinking that it feels safe, but maybe that's, like, false safety. So cool. All right, I was going to share something real quick, is that right now I'm doing a lot of, let me look at my schedule so I can tell you, because I can kind of look at my names on my schedule and remind myself what I'm doing right now. And lately, I've been doing a lot of pro and con lists too, lately, and kind of doing a lot of what would that mean about you if you were somebody who got their needs met. Or if you had more time in your day, what do you think people would think about that? Or there's always some, like, I had a client, like, has a really hard